Welcome, everybody, to another edition of Artist Fireside Chat. This is your own WhaleShark here to organize an extremely special edition with an interview with Chinese art extraordinaire Cai Guo-Qiang. And today we're not only joined by the master himself, but we're also joined by TR Labs, the online gallery that is fully propelling this amazing drive for his art. And I'm here today not only with Mr. Cai, but also with Li Xing, the chairwoman and co-founder of TR Labs, as well as Audrey, the CEO and co-founder of TR Labs. It's amazing to have you guys on here today. For those who have not had the pleasure and the utter honor of meeting both of you, could you give us a brief introduction of yourselves?
Hello, everyone. Thank you, WhaleShark, for having us. I'm Cindy Cohen, co-founder and chairwoman of TR Lab. I've been working in the traditional auction house for more than a decade, and I'm also the non-executive deputy chairman of Christie's. I've been always a curious person, observing art, culture, and technology, which lead me to the crypto space and collect NFT works on various platforms. Now I'm working with a few like-minded, young, and energetic partners to build the future of TR Lab.
It's truly an honor to have you with us, Xin Li. I fully appreciated your career and your contributions, not only to the traditional art world, but also to the NFT art world. Just utterly grateful and utterly flawed to have you here today. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Audrey, take it away, my friend.
Hi, everyone. It's an honor to be here today and beyond with good friends like Will and Sing. I'm the CEO of TR Lab, and my background is also in art. My family had founded Rockbund Art Museum in Shanghai, so I've always been an art lover, especially within contemporary art since I was very young. However, I've never wanted to fully delve into the art world until NFTs came along, because I was always interested in the intersection of art and technology. And I've always been a huge supporter of the creator economy and always thought about how I could profit more from it myself. And so this year with TR Lab, with Rockbund Art Museum, I became involved pretty early on, and it's been amazing to work with great artists such as Mr. Cai, who will be the main focus today, and also to be interacting with amazing collectors and artists from both spaces.
A pleasure to have you here with us today, Audrey. And since I've gotten to know you, a lot of people don't know, but you're also one of the very youngest leaders in the NFT space, breaking records. And we'll talk a little bit more about that later on. Now, people have been wondering, Audrey said it best. We have Mr. Cai here front and foremost, but we haven't said anything about him yet, have we? So we saved the best introduction for last. However, what we'd like to do before revealing Mr. Cai to all of you here is we'd love to play a 10-minute video for all of you to get acquainted with his works before he shows his face, as well as a very special surprise for all of the viewers that are here today. So before we begin, we have prepared a special video for you guys to get acquainted with this extremely prestigious artist. And when I mean prestigious, I'm talking about awards like from the Golden Lion 48 Venice Biennale, the Alpert Awards in the Arts in 2001, and the Fukuoka Asian Culture Prize in 2009. We are totally floored, totally honored, and totally grateful that Mr. Cai has spent the time to gather with us here today, as well as prepare something extremely epic for all of you. So without further ado, and before you get to meet Mr. Cai in person, in the flesh, DC, why don't you drop that video?
艺术对于我像个时空隧道，它让我出入在看得见和看不见的世界，在体制内外徘徊。它也让我在社会现实和纯粹艺术追求里摇摆。我头脑里面总是在胡思乱想，也有很多特别好玩的事，总是想跟人家一起去做。这些事情，它是需要世界各地的人的帮助，才能把它一个个实现起来。它也都是我自己很想看到的东西。在日本福岛的核电站事故以后，我赶紧捐了作品拍卖，给盘城的老朋友们重建家园。但没想到他们却回答说，他们要用这些钱在他们的家乡种10万棵樱花。开始我有点不明白，后来听了他们的理念被感动，决定回来和他们一起来种樱花，也为这些当地留守的孩子们创建一个回廊的美术馆。我也期待哪一天真的从遥远的地方看过来，被核电站污染过的土地是一片红色的樱花的海洋。数十年来，我的工作和生活一直穿梭在多元文化之间，在5大洲不同的文化背景里面，与不同的族群共同创作。我像一个种子，在不同的土地开花，结果后来人们经常说起我的艺术是跨越了国界，促进了文化之间的对话。那些年，我在世界各地放火搞爆炸，08年却炸出了个广岛和平桥。 那一年，我第一次在天上画出了黑色的彩虹，像水墨般一样向天上洒去。911使我感到了纽约是我的家。第2年，我和这里的人们一起用火药点燃了一个彩虹，纪念1年之前的那一场灾难。1999年，我在巴西帮助未成年犯罪者教育小孩，我让他们做大炮，希望他们了解火药和人的能量可以用于暴力，也可以造福社会，成为艺术。那年，我来到了美国。那时代，我常用外星人的眼光来看这个星球。我第一次在西方做展览。1989年，我第一次用火药在大地上创作。1986年底，我来到了日本。开始我以为东京有3000多家画廊，就有3000多个机会，可是却屡屡被拒在门外。后来我就觉得，这个世界上应该还有别的方向可以去发展。1984年，我第一次在画布上用火药做试验，火烧起来了，画布也烧起来了。我奶奶用麻布把火灭了，她使我开始懂得点火重要，灭火比点火更重要。1981年起，我开始在上海学习戏剧的舞台设计。60年代，我的艺术启蒙源自坐在我父亲腿上，看他在火柴盒上画山水。方寸之间，天涯万里，一个小小的火柴盒上，父亲的情感和世界却很深很大。而泉州对世界就像一个小小火柴盒。1957年12月，我出生在中国的泉州，父亲给我取名叫蔡国强。
All right. DC, can you bring everyone up? What an amazing introduction to an amazing artist. And here he is, the man of the hour himself, Mr. Cai.
嗨，
蔡老师，你好。
你好。
Hello, Mr. Cai. Are you in your studio today? 你在工作坊吧？
正在做一些试验，
然后这边有我，还有我的一些助理们，然后有张，自己介绍自己。
Hi everyone, I'm Sang, Thai's project director. I'll also be translating for Thai today.
因为今天很多是听英文的。
Because I understand there, well, let me translate first. I was saying hi to everyone, also confirming that yes, I'm in my studio today making some tests here, artistic medium. And then I understand today we're facing an English-speaking audience. We arranged the translation.
蔡老师今天真的非常荣幸能加入好像我们的这个 NFT 的这个 community， 然后这一次我 off screen 也说过，好像这一次是我整体作为一个美术艺术的收藏家的生命之内最荣幸的第一次，所以真的很感谢今天你来参加我们的这一次的一个访谈。
我们是把这一个研究的过程开放给大家看到，因为我刚从西藏回来，然后大家可以知道西藏，因为他们有唐卡啊，还有曼德拉，他们很多都是西藏自己特有的高原上的矿石和植物做颜料。 所以我从西藏带了一堆颜料来，在试验。那个这几天我试验那个颜料产生的不同的效果，有些是雄黄，有一些是叫做赤雄黄。竟然西藏还有一种颜料，火药颜料叫做雌黄，就是雄和雌、公和母的那个黄。所以我都在试验。那么试验过以后，我今天也试一下。 如果把这个火药造一个佛像，它的感觉是怎么样？所以大家可以看到，等一下我会点做这个佛像。那我上。
So as you can see, I'm opening up my whole process of tests and study here. I actually just came back from Tibet, where I saw lots of their unique mineral pigments of different colors that are typically used to create, say, Tanka Tibetan paintings or Tibetan murals. So I'm now trying to do some tests here by exploding them on the canvas in different mediums. And then, well, here you can already see some small tests that I did just now, igniting. I actually came to know that the Tibetan mural pigments, they include some of the real guards, some are male real guards, and some are female real guards, and another kind, it's a combination actually. So it's a really wondrous discovery for me. And today I'm gonna experiment with these new pigments and see what will come out on the canvas.
所以我是用了玻璃压着火焰迅速在底下炸开，可能大家还能够看到一点点透影出来。
What I'm gonna do is I already scattered gunpowder, the pigments on the canvas, and I'm already placed a sheet of glass on the top, and I will ignite between the glass and the canvas. You will see how the fire will go across the canvas, the surface.
但是很快。
But everything will be super fast.
OK.
Within a second.
那我们都开始了啊。
This looks amazing.
So.
OK.
Whoa! Whoa! Whoa!
所以可以看出我这个那个西藏的火药用很多。
You can see that I use lots of the gunpowder, the pigments from Tibet that I brought back from Tibet.
我刚才做的那个佛像基本上被这个火药给冲走了。
The Tibetan Buddha statue that I attempted to realize on the canvas didn't show very figuratively on the canvas. It got pushed away by the shock of the ignition.
它压迫不是炸破。
The glass broke into pieces, but not because of the ignition.
有点。
Oh, we can see roughly the silhouettes of the Buddha statue that I try to realize. Close up.
太美了 Wow, that is beautiful.
我看到这个很棒的作品。
I think it's a great piece.
因为它是一个非常的能量非常的简洁。
Because I can see a simple energy going across on the canvas.
我这一段是用的那个叫雌黄的。
For this area, I applied the so-called female real gar.
这是用雄黄。
And this is the male real gar.
然后我用了很多
Those are kind of
的植物
pigments.
叫做石铅、
I also used another kind of green mineral pigment,
花青，
Huaqing pigment,
用了一些胭脂，
and kind of rouge color,
对
also
这边
from
有一些
Tibet,
这些深红是吧？
and
暗红。
and some scarlet red here.
太棒了，蔡老师，你一把那个火药点火的时候，我们整个所有的观众就已经开始发动起来了，然后马上进来了20多个问题。
好，那我们现在回答大家的问题，移动到我这个展厅。
Shall we answer some of the questions now, or?
Absolutely. What we can do is we can go across the normal flow. I know that we've prepared something, but this is really the first time that the whale community has gotten an opportunity to see an artist at work, and this is just such an honor for all of us. 蔡老师，这是第一次我们进行访谈的时候，有一个那么棒的一个艺术家肯给我们看他的这个创作的这个过程，真的太荣幸了。
对。 而且今天也许会做糟糕，但是还做得不错。
Yes, and in fact, there was a chance of my messing up the ignition actually, because there's always a chance here, but it turned out well.
我可以跟你说，我们的这些观众呢，他们一看见好像你开始好像去点火，然后去开始创作的时候，大家都发动起来了。他们都，我如果好像在后台上好像看进来的这些问题挺多的。 所以我估计今天会是一个非常非常好的一个讨论。So basically, I told Mr. Chai that as he was igniting the piece, I saw so much excitement within the community, and also you guys came in flooding with questions, and we will get to them. But first, we do want to take a look at Mr. Chai's studio.
好，看我们的。
Okay, here we are in a small gallery. With some of the works that I created recently.
都有包括疫情期间的一些心情。
Some of them expressed my feelings in the midst of the pandemic. And for example, this one showed my impression after realizing my solo exhibition at a Palace Museum in Beijing. And this in particular features a saying from my memory of the Meridian Gate Gallery, which is one of the main 3 galleries that accommodates my exhibition. And here, this one is also the Meridian Gate Gallery. That's along the central axis of the whole Forbidden City. And this one features a very chilly, freezing Beijing. Okay.
Wow. 所以蔡老师这些作品全部都是好像你之前去展览过的，好像你自己好像做了一个展览厅吧？
展览的作品你还在美术馆，现在在上海浦东美术馆展。现在是那个展览之后，我最近从中国回来，每一次又重新再创作一些作品。
Yes, I indeed did that exhibition at a Palace Museum in Beijing. But all those exhibition works are still unveiled in Shanghai at the Museum of Art Pudong. And these works that are seeing now are actually what I created after that exhibition.
Amazing.
Okay, I'll be quick.
No, please take your time. We're very much enjoying this. 请慢慢来，我们是非常非常在欣赏，好像你所有的这些作品。
对，大家可以看看。有时候我都会先在布上、纸上做一些实验。
Sometimes I would first do some tests of gunpowders on canvas or paper. As a way to understand the nature and the qualities of gunpowders from different regions and countries, as they are indeed different.
这一张是很特别的。
And this one is special. Let's take a look. I exploded here a galaxy,
但是它像一条龙骨，
which looks like a dragon, the skeleton,
对人类想象银河在
the spine.
想象银河像一个脊椎，因为宇宙像一个生命。
And as I imagine people in the ancient times imagine the galaxy as a skeleton, because cosmos for them is also a living being in the eyes of the Asian people.
Truly amazing.
Okay, here. These 3 pieces were made by igniting between glass and a mirror.
Wow.
有些是在玻璃这边，有些在镜子那边，它的立体感很好。
So some of the ignited traces are on the side of the glass, and some are on the side of the mirror. Hence, this depth effect of these works.
Amazing.
Okay, here we are. This is the painting that was born of the second NFT, exploding the self.
那我等一下就在这边，我们在这边开始。
Later, we will. Now I'm gonna get seated, and I will be sitting here, and Sang, you will be sitting next to me for translation.
Mr. Chai, thank you. Thank you, Mr. Chai. Thank you so much for that amazing, not only exhibition, but that tour of your gallery. I have so while I have the total audience or the back end in front of me right now, I actually have the audience on the side screen, and everyone is going absolutely crazy. They have so many questions for you. We will bring him up. There we go. DC is going to bring Mr. Chai up.
现在你就会上。
所以蔡老师刚才真的太感谢了，好像这是第一次，好像整体的这个 NFT community 看到了，就是一个艺术家去做这样的一个展示。
那我没有戴眼镜，怎么看？我以为是这样。
然后除了那个之外，也是刚才给我们看你的展览厅，大家都非常感谢，而且好像大家都可以看得出来，就是大家的问题是特别多，所以今天呢，我就会可能会减少我自己的一些问题，然后允许观众跟蔡老师去结合，去交流，好不好？
好，欢迎。
Okay, so we're just seeing an immense amount of questions today. I want to make sure that everybody does have the ability to ask Mr. Chai all of these questions. As we're looking in the private chat, they're all flowing through, and at the same time, I'm seeing a ton more on stream text. So what we're going to do is we're going to do this as follows. We are going to do this in an English and Chinese format. I will be asking some of my questions in English, and then after that, translating to Chinese. Mr. Chai will be replying in Chinese, and Sang has the toughest job of the night, which is translating that from Chinese back to English for all of you. So I hope all of you very, very much enjoy this very international session of Artist Fireside Chat. So, 蔡老师，桑准备好了吗？
好了，没问题。
Yes, we're ready.
Okay, great. 所以其实刚才 so just now， 所以蔡老师，我待会儿会先用英文来去问那个问题，然后我会直接把它翻译到中文，好不好？
行，你来，没问题。
Okay, good. So we just saw the video of Mr. Chai's entire career, and I thought it was inspiring not to see his growth as an artist, as well as the way that he approaches art and how he grew into this global phenomenon. Given that, why don't we talk a little bit about Mr. Chai's journey to NFTs? So, 蔡老师，如果我可以，因为刚才我们看到的视频是给我们一个非常好的一个介绍，而且好像去看这个视频的时候，我本身好像是觉得非常动心了，好像去看见那个东西的时候，我觉得非常 inspired。那么呢，我竟然好像已经经过了视频的一个介绍，我们要么好像直接跳入进去，然后好像我们开始去讨论一下，就是好像蔡老师从传统艺术这方面到 NFT 业界这方面的一个旅程，好不好？
好啊。
Okay, so 蔡老师，你如果可以的话，就是你在传统的这个艺术的业界里面，你非常出名的是使用不一样的一些材料，尤其是火药吧。我可以问你在你做艺术家的这个旅程之内，你怎么达到这样的一个境界呢？
是因为大家刚才看了那一个叫做倒带，已经大概知道我的成长在泉州啊，这是一个非常开放，但是又离北京很遥远的一个城市。然后也有看到我是受了我父亲的影响。那么我从小跟我父亲一样，我就感到比较谨慎、胆小、规规矩矩。但这样的事情做人呢是可以，但做艺术就不太好。所以我就一直在寻找怎么能够破坏这个保守规矩的人，也让我这个爱控制的人失去控制、失控。所以我年轻时又加上了中国社会当时控制更多，我就一直在寻找什么是反控制的材料和表现方法。对于我做一个当代艺术家，它是一个一箭多雕的、一箭双雕、三雕的事情。然后我也经过了使用鼓风机、火，还有发现这个火药能够带来更多的意外和失控。所以火药的破坏和找到火药，对我来说，首先是针对破坏我自己来的。
So everyone, as you probably already saw in the video rewind, that I was born in the small town Quanzhou, which was actually a very open city, and which is geographically speaking, it's far away from Beijing. So it's less, it had less control by the government. And you can tell also from the video that I was very much influenced by my father, in such a way that I was just like my father when I was a child, who tends to be cautious and timid and well-disciplined. And I felt like these may be good qualities of being a person, but not quite so much as being a good artist. So for a long time, I was looking for a medium, an artistic medium that could kind of disrupt my desire to be well-disciplined and to be controlling, and to and also considering that when I was young, the Chinese society back then was more controlling and oppressive. So I was looking for a medium that could defy control on all aspects, and also a kind of material and means of expression that could defy control. If I could find it, then to be an foreign contemporary artist like me, it would be as good as just like a one stone, multiple birds. So after experimenting with, say, blowers and fire and all kinds of means, I very soon discovered that gunpowder could bring along lots of chance and surprise in the sense of out of control. So in a sense, the disruption that gunpowder could bring along intentionally was to myself.
Fantastic. And we have a lot of questions regarding the use of gunpowder as an artist from the community. But I will leave that for the AMA session, and I'll let them ask those questions. 蔡老师，其实好像刚才看见好像你在用火药的时候，其实我们的这方面的观众都有很多问题关于好像怎么去使用火药在艺术之上。所以呢，待会儿我们进行这个问答题环节的时候，我会让他们直接来去问一下。那么今天呢 so today the main reason why we're here is because I really want to understand your journey from traditional art into the NFT art space. And so the next question I'm going to ask is essentially, what inspired this partnership between TR Labs and Mr. Cai? Again, it's a beautiful and symbiotic relationship with the first two drops. And it's a question I'm going to pose to all three of our guests, probably starting with Li Xing first, then Audrey, then Mr. Cai. 所以我换到中文一下。那么因为今天呢好像我们主要想探讨还有就是了解一下一个这么出名的一个传统艺术业界里面的一个神奇人物，怎么从这个传统的艺术转到了好像就是我们这个还在成长的 NFT 业界里面，大家都觉得非常荣幸。但是我也是想理解一下，就是好像你这个就是你这个加入了 NFT 的这个家族的这样的一个过程。那么这个问题呢，我会开放到李欣、Audrey 还有蔡老师。那么我们先从李欣开始吧，然后李欣可以解释一下，就是 What was that journey like? How did it come to fruition?
Hi, at TR Lab, curation and connection is fundamental to our platform. So we are working from a knowledge base of curators, art historians, and institutions, because the legacy and integrity of art is very important to us. We want to unite the art and the technology, connect the traditional and digital art world, bringing exciting one-of-a-kind NFT projects to the community. As you can see, gunpowder has been iconic medium for Cai's art. I've been following his artistic journey for more than a decade, and he has been reinventing the boundaries of the medium until today. So Cai is the perfect artist to connect all of us.
Amazing. Audrey, would you like to chime in?
Yes, I think Sing summed up what TR Lab wants to do very well. And I think, as you can see from Cai's recap video, he began experimenting with gunpowder in 1984 and has really reinvented the boundaries of the medium in many different ways. And so we at TR Lab felt like it was a natural transition for Cai to venture into NFTs, because he has always operated outside of normal conventions of parameters, and many ways has extended the discourse of the boundaries and the definition of art. And I think if you go look at his NFT works, you can see that for the artist, he has spent a lot of time really looking into what NFTs mean and thinking about the concept of how he could subvert time on the blockchain. And so us at TR Lab here, we love working with artists like Cai, who are very curious and to learn about a new space and a new medium that they have not really been exposed to before. And we will want to continue working with both artists in the traditional and digital world to bridge the two worlds and to bring more unique artworks and projects to everyone.
Amazing, Audrey. Cai老师, so basically, how did this journey start? How did you learn about NFTs? How did you get into NFTs? And what was that journey like for you? 所以蔡老师，你是怎么好像就是第一次好像就认识到 NFT， 然后到怎么去答应，好像就是跟 TR Lab 说好一起合作吧，然后好像我做你的第一个 drop， 然后好像待会儿我们会讨论一下吧，好像就是第一个 drop 是非常非常成功的一回事，但是就希望好像去了解一下你这个从传统艺术，就是传统艺术、实体艺术的这个行业，怎么好像就引进来了，怎么到了NFT 业界里面。
OK， 谢谢威尔，还有李欣，还有这个萌萌，
Thank you, Will, for the question, and thank you, Xing and Audrey.
对，这是我受上海外滩美术馆委托创作的第一个 NFT， 当时是叫做《瞬间的永恒》嘛。
This is my first NFT entitled Transient Eternity that was commissioned by Shanghai Rockbound Art Museum.
但我跟他们的这个美术馆的缘分可以追溯到2010年。
My fate with this museum, Rockbound Art Museum, could be dated back to the year 2010.
也就是他们的支持者那个欧亚平兄，他邀请我做他们这个外滩美术馆的开馆展。
It was, in fact, my great friend Thomas Wu who invited me on behalf of the museum to realize their inaugural exhibition of the museum.
那当时2010年上海正在举办世博会，他们那个口号是城市让生活更美好。我策划了一个叫农民达芬奇的展览，口号是农民让生活更美好。
That year, actually, Shanghai was hosting the World Expo with the slogan that better city, better life. In return, I curated this exhibition entitled Peasant Da Vinci with the slogan better peasants, better city.
这个展览展示了我在6年里面遍访中国农村里面的农民，这些发明家收藏和委托他们制作了很多手工的发明物，比如飞碟、飞机，还有潜艇、机器人等等。
So before the exhibition, I spent roughly 6 years visiting those peasant Da Vinci's and then collecting and commissioning them to create their handmade inventions, such as flying saucer, the UFOs, planes, submarines, and robots. and all those, and I then curated these inventions in my exhibition.
像有的农民他做了飞碟，然后拼命要把它飞起来。那我问他，这一个如果飞起来，你想到怎么降下来吗？他说，哦，还没想过。那我就也把他这个不知如何降下，这一个没想过，做了一个口号叫不知如何降下。
So, for example, one of the peasant Da Vinci's created with his hand a flying saucer and a UFO. And I asked him, so then you were able to really fly the UFO, but then how have you ever thought how to make it land? And he said, well, not really. So I came up with another slogan, not knowing how to land, for that exhibition.
所以我通过这个展览展现了一个个中国个体的人，他的梦想和精彩，也讨论农民对中国现代化还有城市现代化的贡献，以及一个民族在追求自由、公平、民主社会的一种可能性和希望。
So through this exhibition, I try to demonstrate the dreams and the wonders of individuals, and also try to discuss the contribution of peasants to Chinese modernism and the modern urbanization process, as well as revealing the people's pursuit of a democratic society.
所以当外滩美术馆要纪念建馆10周年，又邀请我再次合作的时候，我就想对比10年前的这一个农民达文奇这种草根式的主题，这一次把火药诞生的瞬间跟这个高科技的 NFT 合作，打造一个艺术项目，是一个很有意思的。因为火药在1000年前其实也是一个高科技的，而且火药从于婚丧节庆啊，到这个万里长城的烟火台啊、烽火台啊，几千公里，它都迅速能够边关告急，这一种 message 这种信息传递，其实也是用在这个 NFT 是一种可以思考的一个很有趣的。
So then on the occasion of the 10th anniversary of the Rockbound Art Museum, when I was again invited by the museum to collaborate, I was thinking, compared to what I did 10 years ago on that exhibition, which is more a grassroots kind of style, this time I want to integrate NFT as a high-tech and my gunpowder paintings. So it's the genesis moment into my artwork this time. And in fact, gunpowder was invented in China roughly 1,000 years ago. At the time, it was considered a high-tech. And also considering actually gunpowder was applied in the signal towers of the Great Wall in China, sending signals at the time within very short period of time in ancient times. So in a sense, just kind of signal sending kind of thing related to gunpowder somehow relates to NFT and the kind of information transmission kind of implication in this technology. So which all prompted me to create my first NFT piece.
所以这一个 NFT 作品《瞬间的永恒》其实是讲火药画的重要组成部分。所有人看到我用火药作画，都会说啊，你这个爆炸的瞬间是重要的组成部分。那么这个重要组成部分转化为 NFT， 因为这个部分在以前留下的只是视频和照片。那么大量的美术馆还有收藏家们，他们收藏的都是这个爆炸以后的结果，这个火药画。那么是有了 NFT， 使我们可以把火药爆炸的这个瞬间，这个重要的艺术部分本身作为作品被收藏。所以我反复向人家强调，你收藏的不是视频，你收藏的是这个爆炸的瞬间。
So for my first NFT artwork, Transient Eternity, what it does is to transform a critical component of my gunpowder painting, which is the ignition moment, into NFT. people have been telling me that, Cai, your ignition moments of the gunpowder paintings are actually a very important part of your art. But unfortunately, for a long time, what's left for people to have in their hands are only the videos, the photos of the ignition process, or the result of the ignition being the gunpowder paintings. But now, thanks to NFT, we get to collect and own the ignition moments of gunpowder paintings. So then now the artwork, the NFT artwork is this time is the ignition moments. And as I have been stressing to people that what you are going to collect are not the videos or the photographs, rather that you are collecting an ignition moment.
An amazing answer. I mean, 蔡老师，我快要变成你的超大粉丝了。So I'm about to become like the largest fan ever, guys. I'm fanboying out here. So usually that's an amazing answer, because usually when you look at digital art in NFTs, usually people only are focused on what is the outcome. However, I think for Mr. Cai's work, it's very unique, because what is even more important or equally as important as the outcome is the preparation of the right type of gunpowder, the preparation of the artwork, and the explosion point that Mr. Cai mentioned. So it's almost like his artwork is made for NFTs, because it's that single preparation moment, that single lighting moment that really creates the value of the piece. 所以蔡老师，我刚才说过，就是 NFT 业界里面很多收藏家，他们只关注到重点吧，他们只关注到最终品。但是对蔡老师来说，其实火药的选择、火药的准备、火药的点火，这些其实全部都是作品的最重要的一部分。所以突然我就马上就觉得，NFT 其实跟蔡老师来说是一个完美的一个搭配。
对，是的。所以我首先要感谢那个 TR Lab 的团队搭建这么一个年轻的平台，也还有收藏家们的支持嘛。那这个瞬间永恒，它虽然是一个好像是这一个爆炸的瞬间而已，但它是包含了我近年一个人西方艺术史之旅相关作品。就像你们刚才看的有一次爆炸，对不对？但我为了做这个艺术史之旅，我有做了几百个爆炸，我把那个几百次爆炸的那一些作品的瞬间做成了这一个 NFT。那么这是关于我这些爆炸瞬间，其实就是我这一段旅行的重要成果。这些成果的作品，它都已经在一个个的美术馆展出，包括俄罗斯的普希金美术馆西班牙的普拉多美术馆意大利乌菲齐美术馆和那不勒斯国家美术馆或者庞贝古城，还有纽约的古根海姆美术馆等等，也在去年12月开幕，到了北京故宫来展览，叫做《远行与归来》，达到了高潮。这个展览现在在上海浦东美术馆正在展览，也可以展到明年3月，欢迎大家有机会去看看，欢迎大家看看。那我说完了以后，可以请那个咱们欣还有梦梦分享一下这个拍卖的过程。
So first of all, I have to thank TR Lab for building this amazing platform. And I'm also grateful for the collectors' support. So more on this NFT artwork, Transient Eternity. Although it sounds like it just includes a series of ignition moments, but in fact, those ignitions were realized for a number of paintings that I created for my individual's journey through Western art history. And in fact, I created hundreds of paintings and hence hundreds and hundreds of ignition moments just for this journey. And I made the selection to transform them of the ignition moments to transform it into Transient Eternity, this NFT. And more on this journey that I mentioned. Those relevant paintings were already exhibited at a variety of museums, and hence this journey. And those museums included Pushkin Museum in Moscow, the Prado Museum in Madrid, Uffizi Galleries in Italy, and National Archaeological Museum and Pompeii Archaeological Park in Italy, as well as the New York Guggenheim Museum, etc. A selection of those paintings and hence this journey, highlights of this journey were exhibited in the Palace Museum, my Palace Museum exhibition in Beijing that opened last December, and which was entitled Odyssey and Homecoming. And now I briefly mentioned this, but now this exhibition is unveiled. It has traveled to the Pudong Museum of Art in Shanghai, which will be unveiled till March next year. So everyone, if you ever get a chance to go to Shanghai, please do go take a look.
等一下，我插一句话。
Allow me to chime in again.
想想这个是一个很神奇的一个事情，我也是越来越发现它的好玩。就是你想想，可能乌伊奇美术馆啊，很多美术馆它收藏了我这些作品啊，爆炸以后的作品，就像乌伊奇美术馆也收藏了我一张自画像，是我在意大利照的自己。可是乌伊奇收藏的是那个爆炸的结果的那一张作品。可是有的厂家 NFT 的厂家，他们是收藏我炸那一张画时候瞬间的那个爆炸，这个想想真神奇。
And allow me to add a few words. Looking back, it has really been a wondrous journey in the sense that, for example, Uffizi Galleries in Italy, it hosted my exhibition and displaying a series of gunpowder paintings, and they in fact also acquire one of the paintings from the exhibition. But what they got to hold in hand were only physical gunpowder paintings, whereas now this collector who already acquired my NFT artwork, Transient Eternity, one of the ignitions were actually gave birth to the painting, the physical painting that Uffizi acquired. So this whole story, this relation, it's really a wonder for me.
所以只要想想 NFT 都是在强调独一无二性，其实每一次爆炸都是独一无二的，每一次瞬间也是独一无二的。
And also to think, I understand that NFT lays special stress on being one of.
Oh, sorry, I think we lost a little bit of a connection with Mr. Cai. But in the meanwhile, so basically what and I'll help with the translation here a tiny bit, but Mr. Cai was saying the reason why, and to the point that I made earlier on, the reason why his artwork fits so well with NFTs is because NFTs are supposed to be one of one. Every single explosion that happens with Mr. Chai's work is a unique explosion. Every single piece is unique. Every single process is unique, which truly makes, and the more that I learn about it and the more I hear about it, it truly makes this a very, very epic match for Mr. Cai and NFTs. While we are waiting for Mr. Cai to come back online, Mr. Cai did mention that he would love for Miss Li Xing and Audrey to talk. 萌萌是吗 ？Audrey 最后就叫你萌萌了是吗？
So 可以叫我萌萌。It's my Chinese nickname.
So essentially, again, Mr. Cai ended off. Hey, no worries, Sang. I was finishing translating what Mr. Cai said just now for you, so don't worry. And before I let Li Xing and Audrey answer a question, I just want to state how appreciative we are of your translation. It's one of the best translations that I've heard in this space ever. So thank you so much for doing that.
OK， 刚才有听到吗？罗桑，你说到哪？
有。没问题。刚才后来你们掉线的时候，我是把最后一部分给他们翻译了。
那你都听到我说的话是吗？
就是对，听得到，没问题。那么 so let's talk about that. So just now, Mr. Cai wanted or said, hey, maybe we should ask Li Xing and Audrey to talk a little bit about that auction, right? That auction broke records and was just epic. It was just completely epic. And eventually, Mr. Chai's piece, 瞬间的永恒, right, eventually sold for $2.5 million. What a, sorry for the pun, but what a bang into the industry, right? Li Xing, Audrey, this was Mr. Chai's very first entry into the NFT space. It was also TR Lab's very first piece up for auction. Can you guys take me through the preparation process and the launching process and how you guys felt? And I imagine it must have been nerve-wracking, but how it felt as you went through that process. Please go ahead.
Hi, I'm going to start first. I would say it's very easy, when you have a great artwork, the audience and the collectors are there waiting for it. So from the process, we have an in-house production studio, white glove service to assist artists in producing digital art, and designers and creative technologists are available to support the artists working in all types of media to translate their vision into unique NFTs. So our team has been working on it with Cai's team for the last few months, led by Audrey Meng, step by step. So Audrey, maybe you can explain more.
Yes, WhaleShark, you're absolutely right. We're also very new in the space, and so it's really a journey of exploration for us too, because we're also looking to learn more and grow more in the NFT world. So it was really a joint process of discovering, working with Cai together, educating each other about art and NFTs, and finding common ground and kind of explosion points that we could build off of. But in terms of the auction itself, as Sing said, the selling to collectors and pitching the artwork, so to say, was actually not a focus point of ours, because we had people waiting who were excited about the artwork. So we're much more focused on the production of the artwork and distilling the artist's message. And one thing that Cai Lao just said that I want to echo is that I think that in the NFT space, there's definitely a tie to, even in the real art, traditional art world, there's a tie to something being a result. And we love that, Cai not only took, he wasn't only even thinking about NFTs in terms of technology, but also thinking about NFTs conceptually in terms of what he could create a completely different set of work that could have never existed before. So it was, we were so happy about the sale, but we were even more happy to work with someone like Cai, and we hope to continue working with artists like him.
A match made in heaven, my friend. 绝配. So,
well, allow us to chime in a bit. And we're very grateful for the successful result of the auction, and most importantly, the proceeds of this auction was for charity purpose. Half of it went to support the Shanghai Rockbound Art Museum, especially their future digital art research and development project. The other half has gone to New York Cai Guo-Qiang Foundation, mainly in support of ACC Cai Fellowship, Asian Cultural Council's Cai Fellowship, in order to support more young Chinese artists to study and to learn more in the United States.
That is simply amazing and inspiring. Not only having such a prestigious career, but also using the proceeds of that auction to give back to the community, to give back to art, to give back to other artists. Mr. Cai, you are a truly exemplary human being for all of us who are watching here today. So I'm just, again, I can't say this enough. I'm just so honored to be here with you today. And so what I want to do is, I do have a little bit of ground to cover today, right? And I do want to make sure that we get to some questions from the community, because as you can see, and those of you guys who can see the private chat, it is totally full with questions. What we are going to do, and I can tell you, we have so many people watching right now. 蔡老师，你今天的观众真的是已经装满了整体的一个 Discord， 而且好像进来的这些问题我没办法去数了，好吧？所以今天呢，我知道好像我们时间是有一点限，所以呢，我们今天我想，既然我们都已经讨论过蔡老师的这个背景，然后我们也讨论过就是蔡老师的第一个 NFT 这个瞬间的永恒，那么我们好像还是要往未来来去看。然后呢，我们知道就是很快蔡老师好像要上你的第二个 NFT， 就叫 Exploding the Self。所以我现在share 一下我的这个屏幕，稍微等一下啊。然后我们大家可以一起欣赏，然后希望蔡老师可以跟我们说一下， 就是这个作品对于蔡老师的这个意思，还有这个创造这个作品的这个过程吧，好不好？
好。
稍微等一下哈 ，Share audio, great. And DC, I'm sharing my screen now. If we can just put it up there. There we go. So essentially what we've done is we've spoken about the artist and the artist's journey. We've spoken about his past, his history, his very prestigious history. We've spoken about his first entry into NFTs. And one of the main things that we want to share with everybody here today is there is only 20 hours, 53 minutes, and 45 seconds to the drop of Mr. Chai's second NFT, which is called Exploding the Self. So why don't we watch this together? And then after that, I would like Mr. Chai to talk about the meaning of this NFT to him, as well as talk about a little bit about the creation process. So here we go. 蔡老师 amazing.
它是在 TR 的网站上打开的。
对。
All right. So 蔡老师，我也看见好像你们现在坐在前面的其实是实际的作品吧，对吧？
对，这个作品在我的后面。对
Exactly. The painting that was born of my NFT artwork is right behind me.
对。
So 请说，就是你可以稍微介绍一下这个作品，然后好像跟大家说一下这个创造的这个灵感，而且这个创造的这个过程呢？
对，就像你刚才也提到的，我也很奇怪，我不知道怎么样 NFT， 虽然我还没有很理解这个事情本身，也在摸索，但是有很多人都来说啊，你很合适 NFT， 你很合适 NFT。
Well, as you also mentioned just now, what was a bit strange to me was when I couldn't quite grasp the concept of NFT. Lots of people have been approaching me saying that NFT should work very well with your art.
但是我想想，可能是我长期以来在艺术的追求的一个核心，就是用看得见表现看不见的世界和那种看不见的能量。
And then I was telling myself, probably that's because I have always been pursued or interested in the intangible world, or how to use tangible means to present the intangible world and the intangible energy.
所以跟传统艺术的这种实体性来相比 NFT 的虚拟性可能更带动我在这方面的探索和表现，包括浩瀚的宇宙啊，是不是也可以通过 NFT 来传递？
So I'm thinking perhaps compared to the physicality of the so-called traditional art, the virtuality of NFT probably can drive my pursuit of the intangible world that I just mentioned.
所以第二件这一个炸自己，它就是一个很简单的一个瞬间，点火后砰的一下，瞬间的火光里面可以看到大概我的轮廓，一种很爽快的感觉。
So my second NFT artwork, Exploding the Self, it was very simple, just one ignition moment, and then just after the ignition, bang, and within that instant of the fire, you get to see the silhouette of myself.
那两个画布，一个是在底下，一个撒了火药以后，一个在上面，炸完了以后，一个比较写实的，一个更虚的。
So I placed one canvas on the ground, sprinkled gunpowder, and then covered it with another canvas on top, and ignited the gunpowder in between. After ignition, I unfolded the two canvases. The one at the bottom looks more figurative. The other on top, more conceptual and then abstract.
然后一个戴着口罩这样的自拍，我是用手机自己自拍做出来的。那么它会又在整个在凝视着自己在新冠疫情里面经历的那种复杂和脆弱，仿佛这样的表情。然后也是冷冷的自我审视自己，象征着我们这一个时代的很特殊的一个时期。
The painting resulting from my NFT artwork, The Ignition Moment, features a masked selfie that I took, well, apparently myself. That selfie, it's as if it's contemplating my own complexity and vulnerability as I experienced in the midst of the pandemic. It's also a frank and cool just contemplation, which is symbolic sort of this extraordinary period that we are all experiencing.
所以大家都知道，艺术史艺术家画自己的自画像是简直自画像就是有一个自己的艺术史。那我们今天的艺术史就是他的自画像，也就是戴口罩。简单来说。
In a sense, portraits as a genre of painting that has its own history, a kind of art history, then I'm thinking probably self-portraits featuring a mask in them, maybe the kind of self-portrait of our time today.
不像威尔是一个面具。
well, unlike WhaleShark, your self-portrait is an avatar. Ours maybe with a mask.
那他的自画像，你的自画像是面具。
Your self-portrait would be an avatar.
下次给你扎一个。
And next time, I want to do a portrait of you.
蔡老师，我是面具后面还在戴着口罩呢，还是还有2层呢，双层，对，而且有些时候危险的时候我还3层呢。
OK， 太好了。OK，
amazing. So again, I want everybody to. So if I had Mr. Cai to myself, I'm sure I could sit down with Mr. Cai and we could speak for hours on end. But I don't get Mr. Cai all to myself today because, again, a lot of this is about making sure that Mr. Cai is able to answer questions from the community. So, Mr. Cai, I can tell you, we have so many questions. I think we're going to have to do this a second time at one point, right? But in the interest of time, what I'm going to do is I'm going to pick 3 different questions pertaining to Mr. Chai's artwork. And then after that, I have one final question for all the panelists. All right? 所以蔡老师，如果单独是你和我在聊的时候，我估计你和我可以坐下来3、4、5个小时去聊天都没问题。但是呢，当然今天我不可以那么自私啦，因为好像如果我去看一下，好像就是 community 进来的这些问题是挺多，所以今天呢，我们就选择3个问题吧。而且他们全部其实好像问题是非常多，但是我选出来的这3个问题是对之于蔡老师去创造作品的这个流程。那么我刚才也说过，就是蔡老师如果未来有时间的话，我们可能需要回来，然后让你好像一个一个来去回答，因为大家真的好像今天晚上全世界是爱上了蔡国强蔡老师。所以呢，我们就今天先选3个吧，好不好？
好。
那么蔡老师 so I said basically we're going to take 3 questions. I have one last question for all the panelists here today, in the interest of time. So 我第一个问题 the first question is from Subspace. I'm curious, does he make his own gunpowder controlling the ratio of the 3 ingredients? 所以蔡老师，这就是关于好像你采用火药的时候，你是把不一样的一些火药混在一起，而且混在一起的过程之内，哪一个作品你是怎么去选火药
？OK， 这个火药混的时候，这个过程我讲的生动一点，它就跟这个中药一样的。其实火药在中国大家都知道，就是火的 medicine。那么中药呢，也是它有很多植物啊，很多矿物啊，那根据每个人的病啊，给他脉谱啊。他应该主题是应该吃什么样的药，比如说上火啦，就应该给他一点点那个板蓝根啊，等等吧。那我这个也是根据我的主题，然后我有几10种火药会拌，然后更多一点呢，还是更少一点呢？更强烈呢，还是更慢一点呢？然后我压力要多大呢？等等，用这一些方法来构造我这一个要达到的效果的一个目标。但当然，我只能说每一次我有一个渴望，但并不是每一次我都达到了。这也是使我一直很有魅力的地方。
So regarding how to combine and mix the gunpowder, maybe a more vivid metaphor would help us better understand it. Just imagine gunpowder, using gunpowder as mixing Chinese medicines, all kinds of medicines. Gunpowder in Chinese exactly literally translated as fire medicine. So just like Chinese medicine, which is always a mixture of plants and minerals, all kinds of ingredients, just like the alchemist mixing things. And for example, if the Chinese doctor would tell you, well, you are on fire, and then you need to take a kind of elixir, a kind of Chinese medicine. And then in my case, I naturally want to may have a variety of subjects to present. And through dozens kinds of different gunpowders, and then depending on the effects or the subjects I want to present or convey, I would select and mix the desired kinds of gunpowder. For example, certain gunpowder can result in a stronger explosion, or faster or slower ignitions. And some requires more pressure on top of it to achieve the effects that I hope to realize. So, and I have also to decide the from where I should place and ignite my gunpowder fuse in order to realize the desired direction of ignition. So as overall, I do have lots and lots of expectations and things that I hope to achieve within a painting. But of course, I don't always get to realize them all as expected. But that's exactly what gunpowder has been appealing. Why gunpowder has been appealing to me, because of the chance and the surprise.
有断了吗？
没有。
Sorry， 不是我静音了，不好意思。So I said, Cai 老师 and some amazing answer and amazing translation, by the way. Again, that's totally perfect. We have a second interesting question, right? And this is something I'm really interested in as well. 所以蔡老师，我们还有第二个问题，就是关于采用火药好像来去做艺术。然后呢，我们的这个 Iliscavia 小朋友他问呢，你觉得好像就是自然环境在创造你的作品的时候会有一个相应的一个影响呢？举个例子，有下雨，有大风，或者对我来说就是好像湿气吧，因为好像火药是一个非常敏感的一个东西吧，对吗？不一样的气温，不一样的湿气，会不会创造不一样的结果？
是的，其实这个采用火药作画就是跟大自然的对话，也就跟宇宙能量对话。大量的火药都是来自于地底下的这一些矿物像我们火山爆炸的那个硫磺硝石还有这个植物的木炭等等，这是它的基础，叫黑色火药，有这3个元素来组成的。那么在火药创作的时候，不同的土地做的火药，它们有些比较猛烈，有些比较缓慢，因为根据他们的提炼技术也不同。然后我在作画的时候，那个土地的干燥潮湿风还有等等都会影响。包括我在那个土地的跟那边的人对话，他们的文化是比较浪漫的，还是他们的文化很理性更精准的，等等都会影响我创作。所以我选择火药画画，就不像一般的画家选择一个油画颜料可以一模一样的，是他每一个时间特定的时空都要跟他有特定的对话。也简单归纳一句，就是选择的火药其实是选择了一个宇宙主题，选择一个大自然和大自然对话的一个主题，也就宇宙主题就是利用宇宙的能量和大自然的能量的主题。
Sang, before you translate, I forgot to. Sorry, I get so enamored with things that I forgot to translate the question into English. So the question that Sang is about to translate the answer for is from Iliscavia. How important is nature's cooperation in creating his artwork? Stated a different way, any need to ever delay a project or change a project due to high wind or rain or something else? So Sang, please go ahead.
Yes, working with gunpowder as an artistic medium is in a way my dialogue with nature and hence also cosmos. Because, gunpowder is made of materials that were extracted from things underground, like all those kinds of different kinds of minerals. For example, the kind of sulfur from the eruption of volcanoes, and also carbon, etc., which all these ingredients compose the gunpowder. So for my creation in different regions and countries across the globe, of course, I'm igniting gunpowder and using gunpowder from the local sources, which as a result come from the local land, which then brings along different kind of effects, because the gunpowder from different lands has different qualities, and some tends to ignite more slowly and some faster. And also, as you said, as our participant rightly put it, in different regions, there are the dryness and the humidity and the climate are all different, which all influence the results of my creation, the kind of ignition like the gunpowder would bring along. And adding to that, different regions has their different characters. Like some people tend to be more romantic, some tend to be more rational, reasonable, which also somehow influence my creation there. So to putting another way, to sum up, working with gunpowder is not quite so much like working with oil paint or other established pigments, which tends to be generally consistent. It has consistent qualities, whereas gunpowder from different regions would have different qualities. And to putting another way, working with gunpowder in different regions would just be like working in different time and space, constituting specific kinds of dialogues unique to that land. I guess by choosing to work with gunpowder, I've already chosen to work with nature and cosmos and having dialogues with them, and also dialoguing with their energies.
Amazing and beautiful answer. 其实好像我们 Illuskavia 小朋友也说，好像真的很感谢，就是蔡老师，而且像刚才那么细心的去回答他在群里好像就发一个感谢。那么我从 community 最后拿出来的一个问题，其实这个我也是比较好奇吧。I'm going to use English first. 1 second. It's from our very long-term member, Milene. And she asks, how many times does Mr. Chai try before he gets something satisfying for him? And I want to add on to that question, how do you know that that's the perfect piece? 所以我们从 Millennial 小朋友好像是有一个问题，他就问蔡老师，就是你需要好像几次去点火，几次去做一个作品，你才出来就是最终产品，最终作品。而且我加上去多一句，就是你怎么知道你一看到的时候，你怎么知道那个就是最完善的一个作品呢？
OK， 这其实不是一个很容易的一个事情。他在创作的时候，我有一个目标，然后我希望他有最高的层次是看不见的力量能够给我帮助，除了火药的能量啊。 还有在这个能量后面隐藏的那一个大自然的能量和这一个像一个神一样的给我一个机会，让他这是一个神品。那么这个东西就是要打破了我自己现在的水平和我的愿望，达到了一个最高的，让我看了都说这不是我做的，这简直是神做的，这样的惊叹和兴奋。 但我并不是很容易就能做成这样的，所以我有时候是很沮丧的，是一个很焦虑的就是好像一只野兽，一直找不到一个出路，躲来躲去。但是我一种担心还有一种挣扎这个过程，也就相当于无论如何，我每一次点火。 那个爆炸的瞬间，它都让我一个解放了，把我这个愿望太多要求的一个小孩的，又要糖果，又要 什么都要，这些要求彻底给我扫清了 ，bang，Oh my God， 只要爆炸了就可以了。所以有时候我也把这一个过程回归到最后，就是一个做爱的一个过程就是想那么多。但事实上，它最后总是一个兴奋和满足，所以是一个很不容易的一个事情。我给你们解释也是很不容易大概我就是唠唠叨叨说了这个，你们自己想象吧。
So overall, it's the process of creation is indeed not easy. Firstly, I always have a goals hoping to achieve, and I hope to achieve the highest standard, the top level work. And even more, I always hope that there could be unseen forces helping me. For example, by unseen forces, I mean, for example, the energy of gunpowder, energy of nature, and even that of the God. With all those unseen forces help, I hope to achieve something that can bring along awe or surprise, or to realize God's work so good that it's like a God's work. And in the sense that the unseen forces can help me just push my boundary to achieve something that could not be achieved by myself alone. It's as if I hope that looking at the work, I will feel like, wow, really? This is what I did? Was I really that good? And could be so carried away and to be thrilled about the result. But of course, that's very difficult to achieve. The reality is, oftentimes I'm anxious, and I may even be frustrated by the result. And maybe from time to time, I would just be like a beast, looking for an outlet, looking for the way out, the right way out. And in constant struggles and uncertainties, or just vulnerability. But for each ignition, but still I have to say, for each ignition, regardless, it brings along a kind of self-liberation, meaning that I may have lots and lots of wishes before the ignition moment, just like a little kid wishing for candies and all those goodies. But then after the ignition moment, all those wishes will be just cleared away, all done, finally done. Then maybe I can compare this whole complicated process to lovemaking. Meaning I could have all the expectations and the wishes of the result, and then, well, whatever the wishes and all those secret thinkings, the result would always be just good, exciting, and a liberation. So, forgive me for saying all these, sharing all these details on my mind. Just a long answer. I will leave it to you guys to imagine what it's like to create a painting.
所以我现在头脑里面跟你们在讲的时候，我头脑其实另外一个世界一直在思考，一直在暗示自己。刚才我那一张画有得到高原的帮助了吗？有得到了高原的神的支持了吗？刚才是有得到了吗？我等一下要赶快回去看看。所以我一直在摇摆，我刚才是得到了吗
？So in fact, as I was talking to you guys, a lot of things are running across in my mind, which are, well, for the tiny piece that I just ignited, did I get the help of the high mountain of Tibet, or the help of the gods there? Now I cannot wait to go back and take another look and to find the answer.
通过神的帮助，通过神的支持，超越自己。I love it. I love it. That's an amazing answer. And by the way, within the chat, Sang, you're getting a huge amount of fans in there. They thought it would be a very difficult thing to translate, but inside there they said you translated it amazingly well. So
Thank you.
蔡老师，今天晚上蔡老师有蔡老师的粉丝，而且今天晚上Sang也有Sang自己的粉丝了，因为我们在 community 里面也是有很多华侨那么。因为好像我们都已经超过了原本设计的30分钟一样，我是真的很感谢能有这个机会点可以跟大家聊，所以我会问最后的一个问题吧，然后如果好像有机会点，肯定 肯定必须蔡老师你需要跟我们坐下来4-5个小时，然后我们喝杯茶水，然后简单聊一下，好不好？
好。
So I wish we could have Mr. Cai and the TR Labs team here with us for 4 to 5 hours. But again, we do have to be conscious of everyone's time. So I know that a lot of you guys did ask questions. I apologize that we didn't get to every single one of them, but God willing, with the support and with the help of God, we will have Mr. Cai here with us in the near future again to answer all of your questions. But I would like to end off this segment with a question I ask all of my guests. All right. And this is a question posed to all 3 guests. We'll go one by one, starting with Sing, then going to Audrey, and then going to Mr. Cai. But as the NFT art world continues to grow, what are some of your predictions and wishes as you look into the future? 那么我们会问最后的一个问题，就是我们就是好像我们在看，就是 NFT 美术、NFT 艺术的这个业界变得越来越大，大家对于这个行业，对于这个科技，有什么样的一些感想，而且未来发展的期望？那么我们就从李欣开始吧。
Hi, we believe the physical world and virtual world will be parallel and coexist and complement each other. The digital art has been around actually for a long time. What NFT has done is to offer the technology and the manner in which artists could profit of digital art. And the collector can collect digital art in the same manner that exists in the traditional art world. So what will become more apparent over time is the difference between NFT collectibles and NFT artwork. So the technology has brought unlimited possibilities. And for TR Lab, we are excited to be a part of a movement pioneering art for a new generation.
Amazing answer, Li Xing. And again, I love the fact that it's not one or the other. It's about growing the art space as a whole, having them run parallel, having them run complementary, and growing all the art lovers and creators throughout the world. Love your answer.
Thank you.
Audrey, would you like to chime in?
Yeah, just in adding to what Singh said, I think we're really focused on, there's a huge chasm right now between the traditional art world and the digital NFT art world. And we think that it shouldn't be the case. We think that there should be a lot more dialogue between the two groups where, what unites everyone is a love for art. And that should not be something that separates, who gets to define what is good art or who gets to define what a new generation is looking for in terms of art. And for us, we want to help facilitate that conversation and also expose people from both sides to each other. So one of the things that we really want to do too is to educate both traditional artists and collectors about the NFT world. And in fact, this time for Cai's second NFT artwork with us, Exploding the Self, we've had so many collectors who have never had a MetaMask before, who have never had been exposed to cryptocurrencies before, reach out to us because they're excited about collecting such a work. And so we like to think of TR Lab as also a gateway where hopefully we'll get more people involved in the NFT space, and that the divergence between the NFT art space and the traditional art space will become smaller over time, and then everyone will get to grow together in a new space.
Love the answer. Youth has spoken, the bridge between the traditional and the digital. Again, we are, Audrey, you are representative, as are many people in the NFT space, of a growing segment of younger collectors, of people who can appreciate things from both the traditional and the digital. So well said. Thank you so much, my friend. 蔡老师。
我的意思嘛，我感觉 NFT 的艺术总体上要更大胆和冒险 当然，它是首先要想想如何从 NFT 的技术它特有的核心价值是什么来出发，提问 NFT 艺术自己的形式和理念，看它有什么更多的可能。当然，我已经有一些 NFT 的想法，但是还是需要像威尔还有新各种各样的萌萌还有各种各样的技术艺术各种朋友多交流，那才能把 NFT 艺术这个事情呢做得越来越好，越来越好玩。
So overall, I think for NFT art, overall, it could be more daring and adventurous. I've been thinking, how can we leverage the core qualities of NFT technology? And then ask ourselves, is it possible, or how can we achieve a kind of unique form and concept of NFT art? I actually already have a few ideas more about NFT art, but I really need to talk more to friends and experts like Will and Xin, Audrey, and all those experts in order to play it well in this NFT art
甚至
world.
很多年轻的这个 NFT 社圈的朋友都可以说，蔡，我感到你应该往哪一方面多做一些思考和探索。
And please, all these young people from the NFT community, please feel free to tell me that, Cai, I think you should go this way or that way. All advices are welcomed.
对，
Mr. Cai, today you have totally opened up my eyes in terms of seeing the bridge between the traditional and the digital. As a collector myself, when I collect NFTs and I look at what's good for a digital space, I'm usually looking at things like generative art and things like that. Today, you've truly opened my eyes to the fact that there is a clear bridge between traditional and digital, and there are ways to capture the important moments of that creation into the digital. I'm just so totally humbled during this interview today, because I learned, this has probably been one of my favorite interviews ever. I've learned so much today, and you've opened my eyes to a new paradigm of what can be NFTs. 所以蔡老师，今天你真的让我打开眼界了，就是开门见山了。因为本身作为一个收藏家的时候，我收藏 NFT 的时候，我会从一个非常 2D 的一个非常很平面的一个方式来去收集一些可能人工智能的一些艺术作品等等。但是今天你真的很明显的教了我，其实从传统艺术到数码艺术是有一个非常明显、一个非常宽、一个非常大的一个桥吧。而且蔡老师，我今天好像你给我看了，好像你的这个创造的这个过程，这个创造的这个意思，其实好像我是非常非常荣幸，而且心里已经装满了对于蔡老师以及你所有的作品的极大的尊重，而且极大的爱情。所以今天真的非常感谢您过来，然后好像花那么多的时间跟我以及整体的一个 NFT 的 community 去交流。
谢谢威尔，也谢谢星河萌萌。我最后也感谢今天在那个我们网络上的这一些年轻的朋友们，我希望他们能够收藏到这个才99个，对吧？能够收藏到这一个，就是收藏不到没关系，以后也来。我也是历史上第一次被我很多年轻的朋友他们来写信问蔡，我怎么能买到你这一个作品啊？我都不知道怎么回答，要怎么买。其实我自己也想买一个，也在努力和挣扎当中。然后我们也希望大家好好的支持，把这个钱我们会用在上海外滩美术馆的教育项目，让更多的艺术家受到支持。
So thank you, Will, and Xin, and Audrey, and my young friends from NFT community who are watching our chat now. Everyone, please, I encourage you to purchase your own edition of my second NFT, Exploding the Self, on TR Labs platform. And to be honest, and a good thing is all the proceeds from this sale will also benefit the education programs of Shanghai Rockbound Art Museum. And adding to that, just want to share that I also had lots of first time this time working with NFT community, because lots of my young friends approached me, texting me, saying that, Cai, I want to own an edition of your work too, but just tell me, how can I make the purchase and all those steps? I want to know how to purchase it. Well, to be honest, my answer was, I was also struggling, trying to figure out the process. But please, these are exciting process, and I encourage you to have your own version, your own edition. Even if you, because there are only 99 editions, even if you won't be able to get one, luckily, there will be lots of next times. So I hope to see you then.
我们做一个更疯狂的事。
And I will do together with you something even crazier next time.
让大家更容易收藏到的是。
And making it even more accessible to people next time.
We are all going to be there, Mr. Cai. And I'd also like to give a huge shout out for Audrey and Li Xing, who joined us for this long but extremely exciting interview. I'm going to do something interesting here. So for everyone that's still on, we're about to drop a Discord address. And if we get up to a certain number, I'll be doing a major whale drop for all of you in stream text. DC, drop the TR Labs Discord address. There you go. Whale family, please jump in. Let's support an amazing organization. Let's support an amazing artist. And we'll make sure that you know Exploding the Self is going on sale. There are only 99 editions. It's going to be on the TR Labs address. The moderators will put that in. I can see everybody saying join. So Audrey, I hope you can deal with the inflow of people that are about to come in. We'll make sure that we post it up.
Thank you so much, Will.
It's my pleasure. And guys, remember to swing by the TR Lab website. Moderators, if someone can post up that TR Lab website address so that you all can go in there. Oh, wow. So everything I'm seeing in the Whale Discord is saying join. Audrey, good luck with managing a very rambunctious crowd of collectors. Guys, again, Cai Laoshi, Audrey, Li Xing, thank you so much for spending so much time with us. I know we originally only scheduled for 1 hour. You guys have been total soldiers, been here with me for 1 hour, 42 minutes. I hope this is not the last time we all get together and get to speak. Best of luck with the drop. I will definitely be there. And Cai Laoshi, I'm going to put your NFT on my wall. So this is going to be extremely exciting. Thank you so much, everybody. Thank you to the audience. It's just been an epic edition of Artist Fireside Chat. We'll talk to everybody soon. Thank you so much, everybody.
Thank you so much.
Thank you, everyone. Thank you, Will.
Good night, everybody.
Bye-bye.
Thank you, Cai.
Bye bye.
Bye.
DC, take us away.